back. I'm your host, BKP, and it's time for the All-Star Panel, political All-Star Panel. Again, we want to thank Circuit World. We're up here in the morning. I almost sent everybody a text last night just to, I guess, have fun. I was almost sending everybody a text.
Let me help you with that, dear.
And say, we're going to be at Circuit World, at Sycamore Crossing in the morning, see, like, who would answer first?
Oh, me.
What's wrong with it? Nice 31 degrees here this morning. Dr. Whaley says 29 degrees. Over there, what did you have? What
31.
Are you reporting in at
31? Yeah, I'm reporting
snowflakes
in at
were in the air last night. People,
Really?
yeah, a lot of people were posting some snowflakes.
There's snowflakes in Blue Ridge?
Yes.
Huh. I didn't know,
This is
I
the
didn't know
All-Star
this was a
political
college
panel.
town.
There's a double. We have a double.
Weatherman.
Wait a minute. We have a double
Double
snowflake.
entendre, yeah.
Double snowflake alert. Anyhow, so
Last night was absolutely amazing to watch the amount of people that came through Blue Ridge trick-or-treating.
double or nothing.
Double or nothing. That's an inside joke, folks.
Note, I'm not laughing.
Exactly.
I'm not on the inside.
Yeah, exactly. This is a need-to-know basis.
Continue your thoughts, sir.
5 o'clock, we got there. We went to a little place that serves wine, cheese.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And, in order for us to get the head table, the front table, in the glass, we had to pass out the candy. I say we loosely because the ladies that were there took charge. But I'm telling you, from 5:30 to the time that we ran out of candy, which was 7:15, it was absolutely both sides of the street, going this way, going that way, nonstop.
And cold.
And cold, but
Now,
that's
I know the
okay.
rain moved out,
Kids
but it's a
don't
little
care.
down.
Rain moved out, yeah.
Kids don't care. You hit it, right?
Kids don't care
Kids
if it's
don't
cold.
care. Exactly.
You and I talked about the Halloween yesterday and, changing days and everything. How many times did you ever go out there in the rain? I can remember tons of times we go out in the rain. I don't care what the weather was.
Nothing stopped us.
We're going out to mooch candy.
In a paper sack most of the time.
You
Way
remember
back
you and
then.
Donnie
Did you have
going
a
out
paper
there?
Sack? We didn't have silly little.
No,
we didn't have little.
we used
Pillowcase.
Pillowcase, baby.
Oh
Pillowcase.
wow! You had a big neighborhood.
Yeah, we did. That's right. We pillowcased, and you wrap that thing, throw it around your shoulder,
Oh.
get to the next house. Got it.
Pillowcase.
Okay, going from Halloween, October 31st, that's Scary Nancy in full costume. There was a vote on the floor on the impeachment inquiry by Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, yesterday. Now, before we jump into that, I want to say, did anybody see our congressman? Because I like to do that. It's our congressman here in this district. Did anybody see our congressman go to the podium and say, look, if you want to act like Robert Mueller and special counsel.
Ken Starr.
Or Ken Starr, right?
Ken
Did he say,
Starr.
I thought you said, okay, if you want to act like Ken Starr, you're right. If you want to act like Ken Starr, then I'm going to call you as the first witness to the judiciary, right?
Yeah,
Did you see that?
absolutely.
Okay,
He was phenomenal.
so before we start, that's 3 times before we start, but before we start, I lead the league on going out on the limb.
That's why we're here.
I will go out on a limb like you would not believe.
I'll
We're
drink,
here.
I'll drink to that.
Mark this
Catch
day
it.
down. Mark this day down.
Prediction.
November
We'll drink to that.
1st, 2019.
Today.
Watch for that first button to go out there shortly after this election that says Collins 2024.
Whoa!
What?
Big
I
one.
hope that limb isn't real thin.
I went out there.
You did go out there.
Think he's going to run for president. Let's go. I do. That's my limb. I went out there. I noted it. If it doesn't happen, I had fun. I mean, what the
Yeah.
heck? So that's our congressman, and he was very. Did you see him last night on Brett Baer? I know it's not all about him, but he was on Brett Baer last night. The congressman did a good
You
job.
mean Pumpkinhead?
Brett? Oh, that's not nice.
Yeah, but that's what
That's not nice.
That's what they call him.
But that's
Dude,
not nice, Rick.
They call him
We don't do
Pumpkinhead.
that on this
Brett
show.
Baer.
Yeah, I didn't call him that.
Shifty
that?
shifts allowed.
They say that he's a never Trumper.
Yes, he is.
I really
among others.
Didn't know that until I heard that, and then I thought, really? And then you can kind of see the slant, but he's
Brett
no
Harrison
Shepard
never-
Smith.
never
You know, he's not like a Shepard Smith.
Chris Wallace is a never
Oh,
Trumper. Chris Wallace is a communist. That wasn't
he is.
nice.
He is. So is his father.
No,
We
I'm
don't do
sorry.
that on this show.
Yeah,
I
we
thought.
don't do that. My
I thought
God,
we
let's
could
How about
do
Neil Cavuto?
Anything.
Huh?
Oh, he's a
I
never.
do
He's a
not
never
like Neil
guy.
Cavuto.
Oh,
Neil
Lord.
Cavuto.
And what about our
How about
wonderful
Judge Naphead?
Neil Cavuto's
he's-
a number one jack, okay? And let me tell you why.
number one Jack? What's
I
that?
don't want to just leave
He
it.
left. It's a
Ass like
yeah,
Jack?
exactly.
Oh, God.
All right, he's a number one because I have had an opportunity to work for the stars. Just saying. I'm not going to go into detail, but a lot of these men and women live in New Jersey. They like Judge Napolitano lives in New Jersey. Steve Ducey lives in New Jersey. Okay, who are we talking about? Number one, Jack Cavuto. Right, so these guys all go in. No, I just break here from the thing.
Yeah.
They all go into New York to their networks, and then there's two ways. They either go to Connecticut. We never liked those people. They either go to Connecticut or New Jersey.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So I will not say who, but I've worked in several of their homes back years ago when they're remodeling. Our family's construction company, we've done work for them in their homes in the past, additions or whatever. That being said, he was probably going to sue my ass, but he did an addition on his house.
You're judgment proof.
Which one's he?
Cavuto.
Well, we're talking about.
No,
someone.
he did it. He's number one Jack.
Oh yeah.
He did an addition on his house, and all the contractors in there.
Even though we're not going to talk about who it was.
All the contractors. Well, this one came up in there.
Are y'all following along?
A real Jack. Oh no, people are on TV and then they get off and then they go and they treat the contractors like.
Yeah. So he was horrible.
Yes.
Really? You mean like condescending?
Oh Lord, should I give the address out so you can sue me? Now let's move on. All right, so what say you yesterday, or do you want to get straight into we know who the whistleblower is and where
It's
you
all
want to go
over
with
TV last night.
Why are they not saying his name?
They
Why are they
are.
not saying the name?
Glenn Beck said it.
Yes, okay, I'll give you that.
Someone else said it.
Beck, Levin, BKP 2 days ago.
But they're not saying it on television.
Well,
right. We're not.
They're saying it on the cable.
where you have to go to get anything. Anyway.
Right, but we know who the whistleblower is. We know the whistleblower is connected to Susan Rice. We know the whistleblower, NSA Director McMaster. Now, I want to go. Let me look in the camera. Is that a good shot? Okay, right here.
Right
here. Yes. When you were here,
Yeah.
when McMaster came into the White House, and on this show, you were very concerned. You said, "I'm very concerned."
Deep state,
right?
no
you
doubt
did
about
it.
it.
You did it right here, and I said this 2 days on my show. I told you yesterday, Thursday. I said, "Oh my God, again, Jane is going to be like." You could say I told you so, but McMaster. Now we find out this CIA in the White House guy.
Low-level CIA
Yeah,
guy.
tied to McMaster when McMaster became the NSA director. This guy was his personal assistant. Now, I understand what that means, and you understand what that means when we talk about personal
It can
assistant.
mean a lot of things.
Well, no, it personally, it means basically daylight to dark. You're working with them. I mean, you sign something that says you're going to be in my conversations and you can't say anything. All the above, you know everything. He was McMaster and he worked for Susan Rice. He was in the Obama White House there.
Fluent
Takeoff.
fluent
Yes.
in Russian, fluent in whatever they speak in Ukraine,
Ukraine. Yep.
fluent in those two
Ukraine.
languages,
Yeah.
and he read every piece of documentation that came in and out of there. That guy was a plant from day one. Low-level CIA guy, and now he's gone from the White House, fired from the White House, because he was leaking.
Oh, he
everything
was
that
the big leak.
He was the
they said.
leaker. He was the original leaker that they caught, and that's why they fired
He's
him.
known for that.
Absolutely.
Remember I said that yesterday on the
Absolutely.
show.
Yeah.
If you read the American, I don't know if you ever go to the American Thinker website. It's very good.
I
The
will.
American
Is
Thinker.
that the one with the guy like this?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Been to it once or twice.
There's an article back, I think it's October 8th, about this whistleblower. Well, the article from October 8th had already narrowed down 3 possibilities. But when it got to this guy and they were talking about him, what's his name?
Charamella.
Charamello. When they were talking about Charamello in this article, they said he was known to be a leaker, always was, will be, and not, you know what I'm saying?
He
So-
was a wannabe.
Yes.
He's a low level
good
wannabe
way to
at
put
the
it.
high level, and the only way he could make himself relevant was to take bits of information that he thought would be relevant, would be damaging to the president, and take it to the media.
All right, so do you think he's the direct whistleblower, or there's a buffer between him and one more person to try?
I
Or do
think
you
he
know?
is the indirect whistleblower. He's the one that got the information from the decorated soldier that walked in. That's my theory.
That decorated
The
soldier.
decorated soldier was on the call.
Right.
He went to
Now, so
Go
was
get
the
him,
guy
boys.
yesterday. Is that Morehead? What was this guy that testified yesterday that said he was, I'm going to say just my words, said he was a little concerned, but he didn't hear anything.
Right.
He didn't hear anything criminal on it.
Right.
Right? That was the guy yesterday, and he has resigned, but what is his name? We need to look that up in a little bit. But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I
yeah.
read
The
it last
soldier's
night.
name was what? Kinzer?
No,
No, the
Vin-
soldier's
Vin-
name is Vindlin or Vindlin.
Vindlin, yeah.
Vindlin. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah. How soon we
Yeah,
forget?
that guy's a traitor right there, that Vindlin guy.
no, wait a minute. No, let me just be facetious for the minute. You a traitor? The media built him up.
I know what they did.
And they made him wear his full dress because if you're out there, see, visual in sentences and words. I'm serious. That's what I focus on. Everything I look at the visual. What are they trying to sell me in my optics? What are they trying to sell me in my mind when I read words? I'm serious when I look at it. So I watched that guy, and I said, here's what they're trying to do. They're trying to sell the people the visual. How could this guy be wrong? Look at how decorated. Look at the honor. And the media ran with that. Oh, my God. We can't even question him. What's the last time? Well, not the last time. When did that happen before? Remember the Khan family with their constitution at the DNC? They were, their son or daughter died. And
Yeah.
Gold Star family.
Gold Star
Yeah,
family.
and they-
How dare you it doesn't matter.
They were paid.
Exactly.
Oh my God!
They were
well, look
paid.
at General Flynn. They flip flop. That's the hypocrisy. They don't mind crashing. them. They
Exactly,
do it.
when he was in uniform. So
That's
anyhow,
different.
so you think that guy is X? Tell me what you think
You
of
know,
Vindman. I think is his name or whatever.
I think he is. I do think he's a traitor. He's deep state. He's a wannabe too. He's kind of hanging around, and I can just see him swaggering around at his house at his cocktail parties. You know, saying I do this and I saw so and so today. I can't. He's just a loser beyond belief.
You just took me somewhere I've got to recover from. I'm sorry, you did swaggering around at the cocktail parties. Sorry, I'm just kidding. I got to recover.
Was it a burgundy velvet jacket?
Did he
is
have
that
the
what got
smoke?
you?
Did he have the smoking jacket
Yeah.
embroidered?
Well, he
Burgundy
could have.
velvet with an ascot.
Yeah.
But, no, he hadn't got enough class for burgundy. It was
So,
probably purple.
Let me say this, okay? Let me say this. The media, Morning Joe, the gatekeepers of hell. I'm sorry, folks.
No, that's true.
The gatekeepers of
Literally.
hell, Meek and Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough. You know, all the media immediately went crazy over possibly disrespecting this colonel. And he went in full dress. Why did this man go in full dress? Now, let me say this, and you guys could judge me. Go out there and do some reading. There's, I think it's called militarytimes.com or something. There's a website, Military Times.
Yeah.
Read it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Read an article in there. You realize when that man went in and testified in full dress, who's in charge? The Commander-in-Chief, Donald J. Trump. Maybe that man wasn't supposed to go in full dress and testify against the Commander-in-Chief. Read the article. It's pretty good.
Oh, that's interesting.
That is very interesting.
Yes, because, he is the Commander-in-Chief, and if you're going to go in full dress, maybe you shouldn't have done that. I'm just saying, it was all optics. But what I want to move from there is, splitting hairs whether you like Ann Coulter or not.
Used to.
8 out of 10 times I don't like her.
10 out of 10 for me.
She wrote a very good article last week.
Really?
Yes, I read.
I saw the
I
pro
read a
thing.
lot of
I didn't
stuff.
have time to
just
read
love
that.
it.
I saw her. She's.
No, she wrote a very good article.
What'd she say?
Well, here's the one point. Every time Pelosi and them stand up or shift or anybody like that, they want to defer to our founding fathers. Our founding fathers wrote the Constitution to protect us from the influence of foreign governments. They had the foresight to see that, right? You hear that, right? Our founding fathers, they crafted the Constitution so a country like Ukraine could not influence our elections, right? All the time, our founding fathers on that subject. Guess what our founding fathers had the foresight to do? Is say, if you're not born here,
Right.
you can't be president.
Right.
And there's a reason they knew that, because your heart would always be tied to your motherland. Now, this guy came over 3.5 years old. His family, his mom and dad fled the USSR, Ukraine, when it was, remember the Soviet, right? They fled the Ukraine. Over here, the mom and dad, he grew up in a Ukrainian house. He's 3.5 years old. Did he join the military? Does he have a Purple Heart? Is he dressed and decorated? Yes, but he grew up with a mom and dad that told him stories his whole life about the motherland. And he was 3.5 years old when he left. And there's a reason why our founding fathers said, you're not born here, you can't be president. Because of things like he did. So, outside of the uniform he is wearing, I think he is as deep state and bad news as they get.
Really big.
How did Obama be? Never mind.
Obama was not born in the United States. I'll tell you that right now.
You're one of those. Are you one of those?
I am one of those, and you're going to know it before long.
Okay, Rick, I know you watch the show all the time. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody out there. I've laid out months ago. Some days I do the most boring show because it's not going to develop for months. But I laid out months ago when the Democrats, this is all set up, when the Attorney General sat there and said, and this is when the clock went off and the Democrats said, excuse me, oh hell, we better get our things going. When he sat there and said, I want to know the origin, I want to know the genesis, and yes, I do feel there was spying. That was step one. Now, we cheered, I've brought it up before, we cheered that day, but for the deep state, they said, whoa, okay. Second step, and I just, there was others, but just to say, John Durham, this guy that smiles in all of his pictures, okay?
He smiles behind his beard.
Yeah. The day he was announced, they said OSH asterisk asterisk. I'm serious.
Oh.
Right?
Yes.
Then 2 weeks ago, there was people in the Department of Justice that are deep state, that are still stuck in there. Go look up Department of Justice, and they have hundreds of thousands of employees. So there's deep state still stuck in the Department of Justice. Somehow through the channels, it gets leaked over there that Durham's investigation is going to go criminal. Okay? It gets leaked. It's close to going criminal. As that got
it got leaked. I didn't know
as
that
it got leaked, this is my thought. As it got leaked, the deep state said, we got to kick the whistleblower in gear.
I think
every single
everything
thing.
down the line has been.
But the thing is, they're
We gotta kick
reacting.
you.
The deep state has to react to what the plan with the president is. I mean, they're just kind of.
So what they did with the
now we gotta do
whistleblower
this.
is they're yelling louder. Now, you and I know how many people really know that investigation has turned into a criminal investigation.
How many people know? Everyone now.
No, not everyone.
You
Because,
mean
honey,
the
you and
CNN people?
You and I, they don't tell. They never tell. I watch them all the time. You will hear 30-second spot of something, but you can't put two and two together that it's turned criminal. What CNN won't do is CNN won't say, and you and I know this, that the Department of Justice with Attorney General Barr and Durham had to meet certain criteria to turn it criminal, right? what you hear Morning Joe and them saying, well, while our democracy is crumbling, there is Attorney General Barr and John Durham flying to Italy. Right?
Yeah.
For nothing.
No, absolutely.
Wait till they see what
It's
they
turned
find.
criminal.
The thing is that they've known it was criminal. We've known it was criminal. We being Barr and whatever, for a long time. But I keep reminding everyone that the timing was so important. They've known all this, but they could not come out with it because it wasn't set up yet. And these Democrats could have done their little shenanigans. But until they got the judges, more of the judges in place, it would have been worthless, because they would have, look at the judges that say these ridiculous things they do and how they rule against Trump that is just absolutely ridiculous. You got to get rid of those. And that's what they're doing, because they can't come out with and that's what I'm thinking. I do not like Christopher Wray. He looks like a mamsy-pamsy. I mean, he looks like... Oh,
you're on a roll. We got mamsy-pamsy. We got cocktail parties.
And then you think he's withholding, and I think, God, I hate that guy. But I'm only thinking maybe he's withholding, as is the DOJ with some things. Just they got to wait till the right time to hand it over, or it won't be ironclad. They've got to set everything up, just like a good lawyer. You got to set everything up before it comes out. But my sources say the show has begun, and that was yesterday. The show's begun. Get your popcorn, get a lot of salt and butter. It started, and it's going to be biblical.
All right, Lonnie, note to staff.
Popcorn.
Let's go on eBay or wherever. We got to go. Amazon, Walmart. I don't care. Give them all a shout out. We need a crystal ball.
No, we need a popcorn.
No, we're going to put a crystal ball on the table,
popper.
and we're going to. Everybody has to take the crystal ball, rub it 3 times, and give the crystal ball prediction.
If the American...
Her sources, and you have to hold it like this. Say, sources.
Now, you know I won't do that.
I'm joking. You know.
I will give my predictions.
You know I'm having
however.
fun. Go
If
ahead.
the American public... That's why she's got 3,600 followers on Twitter.
Oh, you're funny.
What?
360.
Oh, I got the zero misplaced, huh?
Please bring it back.
If they think the American public... Wait a minute. Where was my thought? My thought was the American public is led to believe that this whistleblower was not on everybody's radar. Everybody, including the President of the United States, has known who this person is, I believe, since absolute day one.
President came out and said he believes Schiff helped him write to
He
it.
did, yeah.
Exactly.
So
A lot of people
Exactly.
said that.
So, you know, by the time we hear what's going on, I believe everybody in the White House is already on it.
They know everything.
And they know what I would love to see them do is, I hope someone is looking at the transcripts of the phone calls between Biden and the Ukraine, Biden and whatever.
Oh, I understand.
Obama,
I get it. I'm like,
Obama.
really?
Yeah. How would you like
want to bring this up?
You know, they said that I read somewhere. How would
stupid.
you like to be reading the transcript of the conversation with Obama and Iran the day before they sent
They
the
have
$400
pictures of him
million
with
dollars?
AK.
Yeah, let's read it.
Yeah.
Thank
Hey,
you.
the plane, the two C-130s, because it's so heavy, small unmarked bills, is coming to you on pallets.
Yeah, let's hear the conversations, because actually we had to do an end around on that deal because we legally could not disperse cash
They had to go to
money
Canada.
our, right.
They had to go through Canada.
But I will say, I think what you said is just a home run. I would love to hear that week before we dropped how many billion, a pallet load of money. I would love to hear the conversations when our American citizens were sitting on a plane and they actually have said we were waiting for something before we were allowed to take
We got
off.
the cash, let the
let's
plane
hear-
go.
Let's hear those. But I want to say this, and not just to make it
I think
simple.
we will hear them.
I do
I think
too.
we will see them.
I'm telling you.
I want to say this just not to make it simple, but for those out there, I was talking to somebody, my source, very close to the situation, said last month, we are in for a couple tough months as far as us and this, but we're going to be okay. That's what I was told. We're in for a couple really rough months because we're going to hear the media Nancy lay out what they say is an impeachable offense. But I want to look at the camera and say to everybody, folks, he ran on draining the swamp, and it's this simple in a box. This is what draining the swamp looks like. Period. This is what it looked, right?
Yeah.
This is what it looks like.
Yep.
The creatures in the swamp are going to bite as you try to get rid of them.
And I'll tell you what, there's a
they're
lot
doing.
of creatures in the swamp on the Republican
Yeah.
side as well.
You know,
Yes.
the swamp isn't just like the Okefenokee. The swamp is so huge, you cannot even believe
Merle
it.
Haggard. I'm an Okie from Finokie.
Yeah, I've been listening to Merle
Muskogee.
lately. So
The swamp is worldwide.
it is.
It is.
It's huge. It's overpowering. You just can't believe it. But I believe now one person, and a lot of people are saying that Trump and Barr, they're baiting them to impeach him. They're baiting him. They want them to impeach him. And so you'd say, why in the heck would you want that? It's going down in history. The reason is that once they're officially in an impeachment mode, then it opens up, it's televised, and we bring all this evidence and lay it right out, and they're going to go to jail. I mean, this is where it all comes out, under testimony, under oath, in the real investigation in the Senate, and the trial in the Senate. So that's kind of interesting to think about.
We're running short of time. There's two things we've got to get to. No hashtag corporate corrupt media is reporting General Flynn's hearing being postponed, and that Lisa Page altered the 302s, and the list goes on and goes on. It's not being reported. Flynn, this whole circle's coming back around.
Exactly.
Or the circle's out here, and they're starting
Honey,
to tie the noose
it's
in.
coming. I
Flynn-
finished your edits. Is that what she said?
Flynn was set up.
Oh,
Big
yeah.
time. And on my limb also of predictions is
On
I
my
think-
limb. You're even further out there.
on my limb also of predictions is Trump gets reelected and
Yeah.
Michael Flynn goes back in the administration second term.
That would be heaven.
I don't doubt it.
Let me tell you what would be heaven in my world.
Tell me.
If the Horowitz report hit today about 4 o'clock to take all the wind out of the sails of the impeachment hearing or the vote yesterday for the weekend shows.
How big? Now I'd love for him to grab the weekend
The weekend
news
narrative.
cycle for Sunday mornings. How big is what do you think with Flynn? How big is that? And why do you think they're not reporting it?
Why do they not report anything?
Yeah,
They
well,
don't report anything substantively that would make Trump look
No,
better or that there was collusion on the other side.
You know the way what's your name? Rick. What Rick brought in last week
your
was
name?
it was Flynn, it was Papadopoulos, but it could have been anyone. They had the whole scenario. Well, whoever's running, then it's going to be him and him and him. You know, I really
Papadopoulos is running for the office.
saw that.
The office dancer there. What's her name? That was dancing in the office with her associate or whatever. I don't know. I'm making
yeah, he's
stuff
running
up
for
right here.
Hills. Oh,
Yeah,
for Hills.
but no,
place?
she was doing something in the office.
Oh, was not dancing. You mean the one that
was
didn't have
joking,
any
yes.
clothes on?
Yeah.
Oh,
She had naked. There's a difference.
She was
They're
naked.
naked and naked.
I know it.
She's in office naked. Okay, anyhow.
What do y'all think about that? The Democrats said this is nobody's business. It's personal.
It's real. It's
Can you imagine?
well, in the great words of George Costanza, was that wrong? If I'd have just known. All right, moving
That
right
I shouldn't
along.
have used the
no,
desk.
Yeah. Was that wrong?
Oh, God,
All right, anyhow,
done that better.
I want you out of here by the end of the day. So, George Papadopoulos is running for office. Let's go to al-Baghdadi is gone. This piece of garbage is eliminated from the earth. Now, I love baseball. I do. I'm glad Game 7. I'm glad for the Nats, all that. But they cheered the win on TV a lot longer than they gave any cheers for this guy being removed from the face of the earth. Immediately attacking him. Do you think Trump just had a genius plan all along? Do you think it's been a plan?
You mean to go get him?
Yeah, I mean, look, not even a month ago. First of all, you found out, right? Now, I'm not knocking the Kurds, but they're Christians, right? Kurds are Christians. So it's interesting that the Kurds have become the media's chosen people. All of a sudden, I mean, the
It's
media.
because
Right,
Trump
exactly. I mean, they would not care one bit if
About 'em, no.
they don't care at all. That's a bold statement, but they don't care at all around the world. Anywhere Christians are being slaughtered, but all of a sudden the Kurds have become their chosen people.
It's being reported that Trump said right at the beginning of his administration to somebody, and I can't remember who it was, but he said, we need to get that SOB.
Well, the media makes fun of him, and that's what gets mad, because he said, bring me Baghdadi, al-Baghdadi. No, I don't want. I was funny. He's funny as hell because, yeah, they would come in and they tell me, we got this one today, sir. We got that one today. Oh, that's good, but bring me Baghdadi. The media's been making fun of that. I mean, come on, don't make fun of that. Don't make fun of the guy. So, what say you? Because first of all, I mean, I don't want to do it because I get teared up. I don't know how an animal can set somebody alive in a cage and video it, behead somebody on TV,
awful.
and look at the torture and rape that young lady went through for actually 2 years. And
Just
then,
awful.
Right. So, what say you on how the media reported that? What say you on
The Washington Post, I mean, is a prime example. What did they call him? A religious icon or a religious something or other.
I heard they actually
Is dead
changed
at 48 years old.
They wrote it what he was, and then
They
before
changed
they
it.
did it, they changed it.
Yeah.
Do you know how
Wonder
much
who-
time they have spent, because I watch them, on trying to prove whether he was whimpering and crying like a dog? What's the big deal? We got him. He's whimpering and crying. What? They have done stories. They have done major. We can't find anywhere. They're out there and they got this guy, this general, and they got an opportunity to ask him, sir, can you confirm or deny if he was whimpering like a dog? Really? That's what we're
Yeah,
talking
really.
about?
Crying like
really.
a child.
Really.
And then they're making fun of the fact that he gives the dog
And the
medal.
dog, the medal had a paw. He was having fun.
great.
My God, he gave
was
the dog
great.
a
It was
medal.
great. It was brilliant. It was great.
All right, I don't want to run out of time because I told you we got to be up against time, and you know.
Well, why don't you bring us back?
I will bring you back. I will bring you back. But what I want to make sure that we do right now is have time. Jane, there's a lot with the deep state. We share that. The deep state is just that. Deep state bureaucrats. They're stuck in all these places. We're trying to weed them out. This is what happens. But what are some of the things maybe you wanted to talk about this morning that we haven't touched on, or you want to elaborate on some of the subjects we have?
Come up with something and then we'll follow up with you. I'm going to make a big announcement at the end of the show.
Is your name Jane?
No, I just want to say,
Is it?
don't
Mike?
leave. Don't leave. We're going to come back with Brian because we don't have Pet of the Week here with us. But I'm going to make a major announcement on this show, so you need to stick around.
Oh, by the way, major announcements. I need to clear. What the heck? I don't know it. It's got to be shot.
We'll clear it on the break.
I'm joking, man. You know.
It goes to here. What to talk about? I am encouraged. I really am. I mean,
you?
there've been times here when I was really down, but I spend a lot of time reading
She does. I can assure you
people
of
that I found through the 2 years that know what they're saying, and it comes to pass.
Some are very prophetic.
We can go
Yes,
through.
they are. Some are prophetic.
I want to say to you. No, go ahead.
And they say, like yesterday, one of them is saying, get ready for the show. That's what they're calling when everyone comes down. The show. Get ready for the show. Get your popcorn. We're in a movie. We are in a movie. And yesterday they said the show has begun. That's a big thing for people who've been following all this. The show's begun. Yesterday it started in a big way. And I think that was the vote. I think
Yeah.
they may be
I agree.
baiting to get impeached, and Donald Trump wouldn't think twice if they wanted to impeach him, then he could reveal this to the world and take these people down. I mean, it's a brilliant plan. but I really have faith. I have a lot of people I've talked to, and they say we are in control. We have got everything. We have everything.
I feel good.
And I don't know about you, but I love WikiLeaks. I love Julian Assange. If it weren't for him, if it weren't for he, it's proper. If it weren't for him, for is a preposition.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyway, we wouldn't really know any of this. And he started the whole thing and was brave enough to do it. And now he can't even speak in court. They have totally fried his brain. He is... It's just disgusting. And if you haven't watched Citizen 4 on Netflix, Citizen F-O-U-R, it's about Eric Snowden, and you see the whole interview with him. It's from the very start. It's a documentary that takes you real time through the whole thing, and you're going to appreciate that man more than you think. So get up on that, because I think those guys were heroes, actually.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that are torn between whether they're heroes or villains.
Yeah, I know. Well, reportedly, we want to extradite him to criminalize him.
Yeah.
But,
well, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say, because I want to say something to you concerning this, and I want to ask a couple of questions when we come back later that I want to save and hear what you think. Rick, got about 3 minutes.
The jobs numbers came out this morning. They predicted job numbers. The prediction was 89,000. The job numbers came in at, ready for the drum roll, 128,000
give me a break.
jobs added, and that is not even taking into account the fact that General Motors was on strike and all of their suppliers were furloughing people. So if you add all of those people into that 128, you probably come up with somewhere around
But
150, 155. They'll make the adjustment. Yeah, they'll make the adjustment down the road.
Will the deep state corrupt media make the adjustment? Because you know what's funny is...
Well, the Department of Labor will make the adjustment. Whether they report it or not is another story.
Well, they report the adjustment.
Yeah.
Because here's the funny thing about that.
Yeah,
is I remember they would actually adjust in for Obama on any jobs news. They would adjust in for Obama like snow days. You know, like, well, the Northeast was under a snowstorm for 6 days.
Remember that?
Yeah, they used to do stuff like that for him all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
to make the jobs numbers look better.
Make his job numbers look better.
Oh, man, wait till that orange juice report comes in.
Huh?
You want to hear something way out?
Sure.
Oh, of course, sure.
Way out.
Way out.
One of my...
New segment, Jane's Way Out.
James,
Well,
yeah.
we
Wanna
thought
hear
about that at
something
one
way
time. Way out, Obama has already been indicted. He is not at Gitmo because he has
An ankle bracelet.
decided to turn and tell everything. And that's the only reason he is out and not shot.
That is really way out.
Now, is that way out? just floating that. It's a big balloon, though.
I got a problem with it.
I know. You do.
are way out there.
I am. I'm
are-
not saying I believe that. That's just what some people are saying that
I'm
are
good
not
with
on the very far outskirts. They're
Let me
kinda
tell you,
like-
the McMaster thing made me a believer years.
Yeah.
I mean, she
telling
was right
you.
on the money with McMaster.
I got it. Listen, we're going to take a brief break. When we come back, it's time. These guys are not going away. Stay here. We're actually
Big
going to
reveal.
do our winners and losers. We're going to do that at the end of the show. I got a couple questions for Jane. So don't go away. I want you to
Lady
answer a
Jane.
couple questions because she's way out there. And
She's out there on that limb with you.
Yeah, right.
how
guys are sitting there.
how can I say that? I told you I lead the league. I'm going out on a limb. I'll take a shot. We're going to take a break, and it's time for Jesse Barton, Community Relations Director at Cameron Hall, LJ. So we'll be back right after these messages. And sorry to say we don't have a pet of the week.
We'll be petted.
Yeah, we'll
here's
come back
our-
and bark.
Here's our 2 pets of the week, but we will be back with more of the All-Star panel later in the show. Take us a break.